versus Quantum. We'll see how this one works out. Coach Killy in that solo lane has been a really big deal for Quantum Esports and what they want to do, so we'll see if they start off with the Warrior or Guardian, something to wind up in the solo lane. Zeus and Sylvanas are certainly very strong, banned out. That Sobek, though, I think is a hint towards what Quantum does.
Very strong hint indeed, and the Ratataskor being taken off the table as well on the side of Quantum Esports, but Poseidon lockdown already. That's a pretty strong first pick. While not usually the most ideal first pick situation, at the same time, there's a lot of control, especially with Zeus being taken off the table. It can be hard to deal with the Poseidon, but the Bracken response.
Yeah, I actually really like the Poseidon first pick. A lot of times these days when you see first pick or talk about first pick, you're talking about, let's be real, overpowered, right? Like things that are just too good. But when it comes down to it, Poseidon makes the enemy make a decision, right? With a character like Bacchus, you know that he's going to jump in and, well, he can't jump out, so it's not a big deal. But with Poseidon, you're immediately taking things off the table, like Circuit, and sometimes Tier can come into the thoughts process. So Poseidon does a lot of control in that regard as far as what Quantum can go ahead and pick.
Quantum, their draft so far, these two drafts both speak in different ways to me. Quantum, their name of the game is we're looking for the setup potential, but for Rival, they're looking for the control and the CC, really. There is so much map control coming out on the side of Team Rival between the Thor. The Fafnir stuns are always annoying. And then, of course, you can never count out that Poseidon cripple.
It's actually, I really like what Quantum Esports have done here because Team Rival, this is very cut and dry. A lot of times we talk about pace of the game or a team's going to have the initiative or need to be in the front. Right now, this is black and white example. Team Rival are looking to start the fights and start things, and then Quantum Esports are looking to just respond. You jump into us, we'll belly flop, we'll use the Hun Bat's ultimate, even the Cupid Fields of Love, great abilities to respond to an initiation.
So much AoE though. That Cupid, I love the Cupid pick just because of the fact that they already have the AoE from Bacchus ultimate. They've got some AoE coming out from the Bracken, which really locks everybody inside of it just in case they manage to get away from, you know, a potential bots and then the Cupid and cripple and everything. And Kukulkan to seal the deal. That's a pretty good draft right there coming out for the side of Quantum Esports.
We were just having a discussion earlier about Poseidon and Kukulkan, about how they're very similar sides of a very different coin. Kukulkan more about the space control, whereas Poseidon more about the right here, right now. But at the end of the day, very similar characters. Which one comes out on top? Is it water or is it air? Let's take a look. Quantum Esports versus Team Rival. We'll get into it right now.
Feel like I'm watching The Last Airbender now all of a sudden.
I was thinking I was like, all right, there's a couple of different directions she can take this. I didn't know you were going to go the weeb route. All right, I see you. You and Aggro just watching anime in the back room. Either way, Team Rival bringing their storied what's the roster? That's the word I'm looking for. Their story roster to the table. Gnome, Rapio, Watson, Jacob, and Atonement. These guys have been playing together for a while. Little bit of a switch as far as the positions are concerned. You might know Watson better than the solo laner, but he's proven himself well in the mid lane. Whereas on the other side, Quantum Esports, Coach Killy, Hyperion, Dinosaur Joey, and Sir Duckbot. That guy has been around the SMITE scene for a long time.
But he was predominantly in the PC scene prior to this, recently transitioning into the Xbox world, which, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how his transition takes place, because even when he was in PC, he was known as an ADC player, but he was someone who had a lot of difficulty really finding his niche as far as the roles were concerned, and it seems like he's found a home in the mid lane on Xbox.
Yeah, he's done rather well here, and I would expect him to excel with these sort of these oddball picks. Like Kukulkan, I think is oddball enough to really mention that, in the sense that Sir Duckbot, honestly, I know him from way back when I used to commentate the 3v3 joust scene, actually. And you really got to see some of his god pool. And like you said, he's known as a hunter player, predominantly AMC, believe it or not. But certainly this year on the console side has made a name for himself here in the mid lane.
On the other side of the lake, though, you've got Team Rival, who their star players would probably be Rapio, who's known throughout the EU console scene. And even on he was also another player that was he was decently established in the PC side of things. He was an above average player. He was respected pretty solidly all throughout the region. And he was someone who really established himself on the console scene. And alongside of him, you've got Gnome and Atonement, and those three really have been like the catalyst for Team Rival.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this Team Rival was one of the first teams to really put, when you think early SMITE console league, and what are the teams that really brought the league into prominence? You're thinking Eager, and you're thinking this team, Hyperion, though. He's gonna jump away, can't find it. Oh, I wanted to say it, but I'll. It didn't happen just yet, chat, but we'll say it at some point.
The double tap just shy.
Oh, come on now.
Just shy.
Don't steal my thunder. Don't steal my thunder over there, Phoebe. This is, I got memed for too long to not say it, so. Hyperion right now battling it out against the Harpies. He'll survive, believe it or not, but because he decided to get greedy on that back Harpy camp, there is no way he can contest this speed buff, Taco. I think if he backs to base there, well, he's not there in time, but theoretically, if he doesn't get that low, he can toss a monkey at least.
He wins the battle against the Harpies, but ultimately loses his speed buff for it. And yes, it was unfortunate that he lost the buff there, especially considering as a bots without a speed, that is one slow monkey, and that's just not a situation you really want to find yourself in.
Exactly, and also on top of the fact that Hunbats is very much a character, he is, I think, not as bad as Agni, perhaps, but pre-5, he's a much different beast. Rapio in the middle lane, looking for a target. It'll be Hyperion, lands right on top, goes to the spin, can't find any extra damage, and immediately has to get out of there. Rapio does not really pull off the combo exactly as you might expect, and because of that, he doesn't really find the kill.
I think a large issue to that was also attributed to the fact that as Thor, when you're ulting and you recognize that somebody's level 4, not immediately 5, you're kind of anticipating their beads to not be on cooldown.
Right.
And in that circumstance, I think that he was expecting that cleanse to come out on the side of Hyperion. And because of it, he doesn't really lose a whole lot. And the more important aspect is he doesn't leave himself open to getting turned on in that situation. When you ult down to 3 people, even if they're not all level 5 yet, it can still be pretty risky for getting picked.
That's a key point, is the fact that, don't forget, a lot of times Thor's major point of damage is going to be his Mjolnir's attunement. I said it. There you go. The double tap is where a lot of the damage comes from, and that's also your escape. So, like you said, when you're heading into 3 people, you tend to shy away from really using that double tap for the full damage value because, well, you need to get out when you're surrounded. So, good choice there. Rapio just going to clear up some of the jungle. Hyperion going to run into Gnome up there on the top side of the map, but we'll see if Gnome really commits.
See, the interesting aspect for me as far as Rival's draft is concerned is that if I had to look at each of these gods individually and pose them against each other 1v1, I would probably favor it to Rival, but when it comes to a team fighting scenario, I feel as though it could be anybody's game because Quantum probably has a slight edge considering how much AoE control they have in their favor. But at the same time, Rival has so much counter engage and even just initial engage, it can be really difficult for Quantum to deal with.
Exactly. I mean, this is a great example of these two teams have created a draft. Team Rival drafted first. It almost looks like Quantum, as 2 ultimates come out in the dual lane, it almost looks like Quantum drafted 5 gods after Rival drafted their 5 gods, where you go, all right, Team Rival has a composition set on engaging. We're going to start the team fight. Rapio's going to come down from the sky. Watson's going to just punch somebody in the mouth along with Honor, etc. Whereas Quantum, they're looking more to dissuade the team fight like that. They're going to bring down the Fear No Evil, and they're going to put down Sir Duckbot on the kill column as Quantum comes first. Puts himself on the board. There's the response coming out for Watson. Kraken hitting next to nothing, but Jacob hands out 1 and picks up his kill from the Guardian role. It's going to be 1-1 as Team Rival answer right on back, and they maintain the lead despite Quantum claiming first blood.
That wall was absolutely beautiful. Even though it trapped Watson on the wrong side of it, at the same time, there's nothing left for Quantum to punish that Poseidon right there in the corner. And instead, Jacob's able to escape because of it, and if he hadn't executed that wall when he did, Jacob most likely would have died there.
Absolutely, and right there, sometimes when we talk about these things outside of the lines, it kind of seems to no avail, right? We're just talking about things to talk about. But right there, thank you very much, Team Rival and Quantum. We were just talking about how Rival really want to start the fight, and that's what happened. Rival come up and they sort of invade Quantum's jungle, but they're not really set up the way they want to be. A lot of this composition from Team Rival is very intent on I go first, you go second, you go third. Quantum respond by just messing everything up. That's basically their game plan. Fear No Evil comes down, and so does the damage. Atonement responds with an ult of his own, and likely going to be the fall for the Hunter, but which one? One more hit will take Joey down. He has to retreat because of the minions, and Atonement gets saved one more time by Jacob HL. So the support Fafnir picking up the kill to answer back to Quantum, and also saving his Hunter.
In this situation, the interesting part and the hilarious part about this dual lane matchup is Cupid has the cripple and the AoE ultimate, but Honor has the CC immunity. So they're both typically taking damage from the other side. In a pure 1v1 scenario, that could really go anybody's way. And the fact that Atonement was able to recognize, not panic in that situation, just ult and then back up far enough into that wall to really permit the creep wave and Jacob to peel him out of there. That's really solid gameplay.
And that's going to be solid gameplay as well. Rapio picking up Hyperion in the corner. Just not a good game for the Hun Bats today. 0-1-1, but honestly, that slash line is not as devastating as the game might be really internalized for him. It's 3 levels down now for the Monkey, and all of the success that Thor has been having just hasn't happened on the other side. Jacob picks up a Sir Duckbot off of a beautiful impale coming out from Atonement.
The Kraken might have fallen short of doing damage onto the Bacchus there, but at the same time, it did control that jungle area to not permit Dinosaur to follow up and look for any punishment onto Atonement or Jacob.
And that's where we were talking about, keep an eye on Joey. Yeah, they're already gone. That's what we were talking about with Watson and Sir Duckbot's characters, the Poseidon and the Kukulkan Khan being very similar in that regard. But when you're looking for burst damage or just pure damage, Poseidon is generally going to come up a little bit more favorable, and when you're looking for area denial, the Kukulkan Khan's going to come up a little bit more favorable. But at the end of the day, you can still, First Blood was brought to you by Kukulkan Khan Ultimate, and the Kraken right there zoned out players as well. So you can sort of do both, but there's definitely a lean, at least, with most of the characters.
I would say there's certainly a lot more risk involved, though, on the side of the Kukulkan Khan, especially once these mid-team engagements start to happen for the team fight potential, because if a Poseidon misses a Kraken, yeah, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world.
Sure.
If Kukulkan misses his ultimate, that's kind of the end.
Why do you feel that way, though? Because, I mean, it's not as if Poseidon can...
Because Whirlpool actually cripples you, which allows your team follow-up and punish potential. But Kukulkan, worst case scenario, he's going to have a Gem of Isolation. You're going to get a little bit slowed and take some tick damage.
That Tornado does so much more damage, though, than the cripple Whirlpool.
But it's so much harder to lock down in comparison to a Whirlpool from Poseidon.
Very true.
And I think that's really the main issue when it comes to the matchup between these two mages, is one of them has a lot more guaranteed damage and setup, and the other one he kind of just has the damage.
That's very true. There's a little bit more control on the side of Watson. Also, I think what's worthy to note is the itemization as well. I mean, Fatalis is a real item now, right?
Yeah.
Last year it was, haha, I'm winning by 10,000, zoom zoom Poseidon. Now you add a dash. I'm talking a pinch of penetration, 10 pen, and all of a sudden, right? You can buy this as early as third, fourth item if you're building smartly on the Poseidon, and that really helps out. Whereas Kukulkan Khan, I mean, I don't want to see Fatalis on him anytime soon.
I mean, you have Kukulkan who has the slow immunity on his 2. That's fine and dandy, but in comparison to a Poseidon who gets the Fatalis proc on top of his Trident, that's just so annoying to deal with, especially since we typically see most Poseidons opting for the Fatalis Gem of ISO build, and when that comes online, it is probably the most annoying and tilting thing in the world, dealing with a Poseidon who's not only kiting around you because he's Sonic the Hedgehog with this Fatalis, but he's also slowing you.
Sir Duckbot gonna toss out the ultimate almost, and sort of nothing came of it, basically. Rapio took him out anyway. No big deal there. Kukulkan Khan just getting Kukulkan Khan. Hyperion getting controlled by Gnome as he takes on 2 on the right side, which means Watson able to take down Dinosaur on the left side. 5-1 as Team Rival go ahead and take the lead. And they're going to look for the Gold Fury as well. Already 2,000 gold in the lead here. Taco, this is going to push them even more so. Where's Joey?
There's nothing a Cupid can do in this situation. Instead, he's looking like he could be in a ton of danger, and the wall!
The beautiful control out of the Thor, but still very healthy as the Cupid. But here comes the cavalry. Rapio able to finish him up with the BB. And down he goes. The Hunter falls for the first time. 6-1 now. I emphasized the wrong kill. 6-1 now. There you go. That was better.
That is such a feels bad man moment when you're Cupid and you're dashing and you just get trumped immediately.
Whap. Just.
No, complete wrong side of the wall. You do not want to be on that end of it. And because of it, Joey is dead. And he wasn't... And on top of everything else, like, not only did his team just lose their red buff, they just lost 2 picks and had to blow a Kukulkan ultimate, and then the Bacchus just died anyway. And then they lost the Gold Fury. And then Joey died.
That's the like, it was just everything just a series of unfortunate events. I mean, I always talk about the Cupid dash being the size of a football field because it's so long. I mean, he just got obliterated by the free safety, right? Rapio just came over and just punched him in the dome. And I mean, that also, as bad as that feels for the Cupid player, that is, you're always aiming for it when you're looking at characters like Cupid and you're looking at characters like Agni with quick dashes. You're always looking for the stop, but rarely does it come. Rapio was very excited about that. Very excited about that. Not so excited as Gnome, as he's going to get controlled by, it looks like 2 ultimates. Yes, Dinosaur dropped his Intoxicate as well. So, ooh, big hit on Sir Duckbot, so he's going to walk away. But here comes the control from both Killy and Poseidon. It's a 2-on-3 here. Team Rival in the negative numbers, but still looking to take the fight. Coach Killy now in some trouble. And there's going to be the follow-up. Kraken off the mark. But Watson taking some damage from that Kukulkan. Nothing really to speak of, though, for either team. Just a little bit of back and forth.
This is still a dangerous position for Quantum to be in, though. In that last fight, they blew 3 ultimates to lock down a tanky solo laner who's most likely, he has the TP online still, so he can definitely look for a teleport should his team. But if I'm Rival right now, my game plan is to group up and siege another objective. Ideally, the Portal Demon could be looked at with 4 ultimates still off the table for Quantum, and it would definitely be easy for Rival to just group up and siege a little bit. And I mean,
absolutely,
it's so hard for Quantum to try and compensate for that, considering that their team fight is almost non-existent as long as their ultimates are offline. Coach Killy's going to have his available, and you can see they're coming back online now. So maybe a slightly missed opportunity on the side of Rival, but if you're having to burn 3 ultimates to try and lock down a Sun Wukong, you can't really afford to be doing that with the draft that Quantum has opted for as the game progresses.
Yeah, no, you need to be looking for the moments of your own. Quantum right here, I said they have sort of the response draft where Rival is looking to start the fight and then Quantum can respond really well. At this point, they really have to look for the individual picks, because when you're down this far, the response draft, I mean, you're kind of just in trouble, because when Rival look for the initiation, well, they actually get it, instead of you being able to control the situation. Hyperion, keeping Hyperion down has been a very important and crucial point of strategy for Team Rival in this game.
I mean, he's behind the Fafnir even, and Team Rival, they want this Portal Demon. They get the Portal Demon. Kukulkan ultimate coming through, but only hitting Gnome and Rapio, and they're just going to be fine and okay with that.
Yeah, that Kukulkan ultimate looked like it was going for the secure, but got the memo, like he didn't sign up for daylight savings time or something. Way too late. Just not looking right here.
Durbin a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but you certainly can. There's the Fear No Evil, and there's the jump over the wall. Atonement gets out of jail. And that's going to be that as Thor lands to safety. Trouble for the blue team, but there's the Kraken, and that should be fine. Gnome has a free life, so no harm, no foul. Quantum, again, much ado about nothing. Quantum keeps finding these team fights where nobody lives, or rather nobody dies, and finally, this might be the turnaround. Gnome's in trouble, doesn't have that ultimate available, but Jacob again takes out the jungler. Hyperion 0-2-2, low to no impact here in this game.
And the wall, it could potentially be coming out for Rapio, but no need whatsoever. They're gone.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Killy right here, he's just walking in circles, knows that there's nowhere to go. Double digits for Team Rival. They make number 10 as Jacob HL goes ahead. 4-0-5 for the support. My buddy Fafnir here coming through. Fafnir has sort of, so when he first came out, Fafnir was gotta pick him, right? And then he had some changes and not so much anymore. But Fafnir recently has sort of taken a little prominence off of the first pick, first ban Sylvanas of the world. Where's Fafnir? Why is he so powerful?
He's almost like a better version of Kumbhakarna in that he deals a decent amount of damage, especially when he goes up into his ultimate. And then on top of that, the CC and control that he can provide for his teammates with the stun and the silence and everything, it's so annoying.
Beautiful play by Rapio. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I loved that from the first second he went for it. So right away, I wanted to mention it. He goes into the sky. Beautiful ult, first of all. Gold Fury is 33% left, 1/3 left of the HP. Ults just to see where everybody's at. All right, if nobody's there, he ults right back down on the Gold Fury and everybody's hunky-dory. But he sees the opponent, right? He's like, all right, the only thing that can mess us up right here is going to be a dope Fear No Evil. So he lands on him, he misses. Oh well, big deal. He gets some of the damage, follows him over the wall with the stun and the double tap. Oh my goodness, Rapio, that's how you play a Thor, utilizing the kit 100%. Love it.
He read Hyperion like a book.
My goodness.
Judged the jump immediately. Like, he was judging him hard.
They didn't get the Gold Fury. Rival had to peel off. Not only was there Hood Bats, but there was a second player coming down. So smart leash here. Just playing it very, very safe. Right there, the lead. Well,
the Fear No Evil knocked them off of that and made them unleash it just in case they were concerned about some follow-up potential. So a smart play by Rival to back off of that situation. But, I mean, not so smart for Quantum as Hyperion could potentially take another spell.
The last shot! The absolute last Spear of Atonement ultimate. And meanwhile, Rapio in the backline doing whatever he wants right here. Team Rival have taken the reins of this game. You're going nowhere, Dinosaur. Where are you going? The answer is nowhere. Body blocked against the wall, dropped down into the whirlpool, and then controlled even longer. We're watching the Guardian take forever to die. Meanwhile, Rapio's getting kills on the back line. Coach Killy's dying on the front line. Rapio, 7-0-8. It's 16-3, and Team Rival up 10,000 gold. Woo!
Hyperion died, just the tip.
Oh my goodness. This is what I always say, that slash lines are not defining of your performance. This poor Hun Bats, he's 0-4-2. How have we only watched him die 4 times? Hyperion has been controlled this entire game. He's level 12 in juxtaposition to Rapio, who's level 18.
It's felt like he's died a lot more than what he actually has because he's just been forced out of every single part of the map so hard. There's just no room left for him to go. Anytime he tries to show up anywhere, Rapio's there and he's just like, hey, what you doing?
That was the beautiful play that I was talking about when Rapio came down during the Gold Fury. I don't even think that Hyperion wanted to mess with the Gold Fury. He wanted the farm from the mid-Harpy camp. And Thor said, no, I'm going to force you to jump over the wall and actually engage with my team. And Hyperion just said, look, I just want these Harp. You know what? Fine. I'll drop the ultimate on your team if that's really what you want me to do. Because I'm going to die either way. I just want some farm, man.
It's just such an awkward situation to be in as a Hun bots because even when you're a bots from behind, typically you can get maybe 1, 2, 3 if you're lucky ultimates off and have your team look for some sort of turnaround scenario, especially considering that they could potentially have a decent bit of damage between the Bacchus ultimate, the Kulkin ultimate, and the Cupid ultimate, but it just feels like they're tickling Rival at this point in time. They're so far behind that there's really zero possibility for them to try and engage in anything. When there's this much of a level disparity between 2 teams, you're just going to get rolled over.
And that's what I love about Team Rival. Have done this intelligently. It's not just the fact that they've, well, their jungler's 7-0-8 and everybody is, 8 million, 0 and 8 million. That's not really the point. That They got here because they were keeping Hyperion down. And like you said, once Hunbats is level 5, it doesn't matter if he has 100 deaths. Fear no evil is fear no evil. So Team Rival are prioritizing this Hunbats, even though he's level 12, understanding that that's the level of control that he can bring. And they're pushing him out first. Look at this, he can't even get his back Harpies. Nobody's here 1-on-3 and he doesn't even care.
He just wants the back Harpies, man. There's just no room. And Rapio immediately falling onto Hyperion. Just can't catch a break.
There it is. Rapio with the double Tapio. Taking out Hyperion. Oh, just loose leaf with it. Grabbing it. P.S. Gnome and Rapio doing whatever the hell they want in the mid lane. That's because their team is taking out the entire right side lane. Tier 2 is toast. That's going to be the Phoenix as well. Coach Killy here, he can't do nothing. Gnome gets a little bit taller with that kill too, 2 and 10. And there's going to be Atonement chasing Dinosaur into the fountain. Firebird goes down. That's the big deal. Meditation just to keep everybody on the field for the moment. 15 thou. That's a lead.
They are so far ahead. This just isn't even fun anymore for Quantum. There's just no. For Quantum, I'm sure Team Rival are having the time of their life. This is one of those situations where, like, when you get this far ahead in SMITE, you're kind of just like, man, I wish every game was like this.
Yeah. This is the one that you sit there and go, why don't I queue all the time?
I like being full build at 22 minutes and having a 15K, 16K, 17K gold lead. It's just that's just. I mean, I'm a little bit speechless, but at the same time, I'm just well played to Rival.
That's really
honestly.
what it is. I've seen, I mean, I've been doing this for a while. I've seen stomps that just come out because, I mean, I know that I'm stronger than you and I can just sort of outbody you. That's not what we're seeing here. Quantum played relatively fine. It's that Team Rival, they executed a specific strategy and it just worked out. They had a draft that they knew what they wanted to do from minute 1. Rapio knew his role was to find the picks and keep the monkey down. And they've done that repeatedly. Hyperion can't get any control, neither can the rest of his team, because of what Team Rival has done. And it's sort of like I said, sometimes you watch teams sort of haphazardly fall into a 20,000 gold lead and just oops, now you can't fight us. Team Rival have earned this lead every step of the way.
And if you look at Team Rival's score lines, 2 of the deaths out of the 3 that Quantum were able to secure are on Gnome, who was eating 3 to 4 ultimates early game. So all of that early game aggression that Quantum was trying to compensate against Team Rival's engagements, it's kind of useless when you're dumping that much into a solo laner of all. You don't want to dump your kit into a Sun Wukong, especially knowing that he's most likely going to teleport back into the team fights first off. And then secondly, you want to kill a carry. You want to kill somebody who's doing damage, not somebody who's eating it.
Exactly. Every item coming out from Wukong, a little bit defensive. Rapio helping out Gnome right there from the sky, taking out Sir Duckbot. Atonement, he's forced out of the fight. Just kidding. Here he is. He's back in action. Coach Killy gonna force something out. But then he can get forced out himself. Atonement with the hot rally makes it happen. Joey is going to have to go eat a bag of donuts. And this one goes to Team Rival 22-3 in 24 minutes. What an absorbent lead.